Sometimes I look through an actor's entire body of work to see what movies they've been in, and through this process I found out about an old comedy from the late 60s called Candy. I found out that it had both Marlon Brando and Ringo Starr in it. I had this movie's existence in my memory for a while, but it wasn't until recently that I finally had enough and decided to watch it. What could a movie with Ringo Starr and Marlon Brando in it look like? The movie I ended up watching was nothing like what I thought it would be. It's easily one of the oddest viewing experiences I've had in a while. The plot follows an 18-year-old high schooler named Candy. A poet comes to her school and talks for a while. She takes him home and he tries to have sex with her in a car. A Mexican gardener, played by Ringo Starr, tries to have sex with her too and gets caught in the act. You look away for 5 seconds, and suddenly Candy's on an airplane with the US military. The head of the platoon tries to have sex with her. Then Candy is watching someone perform surgery. The movie continues on like this the entire time. It's as if they had ideas for scenes and wacky scenarios, but forgot what the plot should be. There's a filmmaker that makes Warholian films of people doing mundane actions. The police storm a party held by men in drag. There's an Indian guru sitting in the back of a truck. It feels like someone wrote a bunch of plot points on sticky notes, then stuck them to a bulletin board and said, work these ideas into the movie somehow. They just forgot to give any of these things relevance to anything. This is based off a book that I haven't read. One wonders what the book's plot structure was like. Is the book this scatterbrained? And if not, how did the adaptation get this scatterbrained? You may be wondering what Marlon Brando does in the film. He plays the Indian guru, of course. To imagine he wound up in The Godfather about 4 years later is really bizarre. As you could tell, this definitely feels like a comedy from 1968. The entire movie is just different characters finding excuses to have sex with an 18-year-old, and then occasionally a character says a slur. It's an artifact of the time period and not much else. Sometimes people see a piece of art and say a variation of the phrase, I wonder what kind of drugs the creator was on. Normally when people say this, it bothers me, as it feels like a defense mechanism from having to engage with creativity. But with a movie like Candy, it genuinely feels like the late 60s notebook ramblings of a high screenwriter. It feels like a mix of Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Head. Pee-wee in that it's a character going from one location to another with little to connect them, and Head in that it's from the late 1960s and probably written by someone on Heavy Pot. Candy has a very dreamlike atmosphere. It almost feels like episodes of a non-existent TV show stitched together, or a bunch of half-baked sketch ideas laid one after another. But normally a dreamy movie has motifs, whether it be repeating characters, sentences, music cues, settings, or situations. Head is actually a good example of this done right. Despite a loose structure, everything feels like it has a place being there. Candy is just a movie with some crap in it. Footage was shot, and it makes up a runtime. If you were to take a couple of these ideas and give them proper time to cook, you could have gotten an actual coherent story. Yet I found myself liking the loose structure and lack of plot. I'd recommend the film if you want to see Marlon Brando attempt an Indian accent, if you want to see Ringo Starr attempt a Mexican accent, or if you want a film that's number one goal is to find excuses to get an 18-year-old naked. Is it a satire on sleaziness, or is it sleazy itself? It's subjective. Candy isn't very good, but at the very least it's not forgettable. But then again, you tend to remember traumatic things you've seen.